Good morning, everyone. It is 8:25 a.m. and it's March 6th, 2023. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Um, Markets had a banner day on Friday. More short covering. I basically eliminated the shorts with the move. Um, let's just look at the watch list. See what we have going on. The VIX is up 2.54%. We have bonds being bought. We have Nasdaq's up 0.37. The Bitcoin's up 0.56. What else we got? I think I just said that, but I'll say it again. Nasdaq up 0.36. ES up 0.17. The Russell pretty much flat. The Dow is pretty much flat. Dollar's pretty much flat. Crude is down 1.36%. That is because China, I think, they limited their growth for the next following year, so that's bad for crude. The very big, large importer of crude. The 10-year yield is down 1.64%. I guess that 4% was kind of resistance, right? And people are starting to buy bonds. Okay, so what else do we have going on here? Apple has gotten an upgrade from, I believe, Goldman Sachs. So they're up 1.71%. Meta, I just saw Meta. What did they say? I just actually saw not great news about Meta, but anyway, it's up 1.05% pre-market, then followed by AMD and Tesla. Tesla's just made price cuts. Um, what do we have? Top sector, Roblox, not much of a leader, up 0.56. Not much of a lagger in oils, even though that obviously oil took a little fall down. Oil stocks are the weaker here, but nothing to note of like major catastrophe here. But in sectors, we have techs leading the way, followed by communications, and then no surprise here is energy. Okay, that is that. We can get into this week's news. Today is very light with news. There's not much. Factory orders at 10 a.m. That's not really a market mover. But we got some big Fed Powell. He is testifying at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So this could cause, with the trend day higher on Friday, usually you want to digest that move, and we could balance waiting for Powell tomorrow. And I believe he talks the next day. Yeah, so 2 days in a row at 10 a.m. Powell's testifying. Okay. What else do we have? We have Jolt's jobs on 10 a.m. also on Wednesday. Crude. What else? Thursday, initial jobless claims. But then Friday, of course, the big one, non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. Okay. You don't seem to have as much Fed speak this week, but other Fed members besides Powell, which is the huge one, obviously. He's the Fed chair. So 10 a.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday, whatever he says probably will move the market. So be very wary of that on Tuesday. That starts 10 a.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday. Um, let's look at some earnings this week. These are just implied moves. Who looks to have the largest move implied volatility? It looks like the Stitch Fix on Tuesday. To some stocks to note: CrowdStrike, cybersecurity, Dick's Sporting Goods, right? Asana looks like it's before the open on Wednesday. That looks like they have the biggest implied move. Um, we got Oracle, BJ's on Thursday, Ulta, DocuSign on Thursday. Those are some of the earnings this week. As far as news, what I was looking at earlier was the ECB says they're gonna um, start. They said they're gonna have farther rate hikes, and Tesla. I've talked about the price falling again. We already talked about Apple's upgrade. So let's get into uh, what happened in the SPY. Just give me 1 second here. I'm gonna start out actually with the SPX just because I had a little bit of a cleaner chart. All right, so from this low, I talked about this before. From this low on December 22nd to the high to the tick, almost 61.8 retracement, the 100-day moving average, 200-day moving average. This 38.34 level acted as support because we came down, hit the 200, went up, came down, hit the 200, right? Broke the 200, hit the 100 and the 61.8. Couldn't close below it. And then if you notice, what happened was this day got rid of almost these 2 days of selling. This day got rid of all the selling but this day. So that's pretty some wicked bullish candles, lots of short covering. So look at all these red candles, right? We were just going lower, and it wasn't an easy move lower, but we just lower, 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 red, 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 and then one green takes out two, another green takes out the rest, except this bar here. Now look at this level, this 4080 level could be our destination in the SPX, right? The cash market. If you just go to a monthly, you can see how big this level's been. The high of November, the high of December, basically the high of January, right? The open of February. The market opened in February here, 4080. Now look, we're starting to move back to that level. That's going to be a true test for this market. This 4080 level. I mean, we have the 20-day moving average here, but in the SPX, the next big level, 4080. You can see it was resistance, support, or look, resistance, resistance, right? And then it was support, support, resistance. So we're heading towards that level again. Okay. This right here is very crucial, this 4080 level, right? Because if we start going into this range, now we're back into this range, right? But if we get rejected, do we take out these candles? Right? Do we have the same reaction, a symmetrical action as this go down? We have to see, right? So I just want to show that level 4080 in the SPX. So we can go over to SPY. Right, that level pretty much is like a 405 in the SPY. Just a cleaner level in the SPX. But however, still the same thing, right? 61.8. Now my anchor VWAPs, this is very interesting, right? These anchor VWAPs, this is from the lows. Look, support. This is the kick save here. 100-day moving average and this anchored VWAP from these lows, right? It's just crazy. And then the all-time highs anchored VWAP. Look at that. It was resistance here, resistance, now support, and then the FOMC, the last FOMC, that's acting as resistance. And these aren't like moving averages. These are based on, amount of shares and basically the volume weighted average price. It's not just random. It's not a moving average. It just moves with time. It's based on buying. So, and the volume weighted average price. So it's it's not like I said, not a moving average. It's just interesting how they're surrounding these candles. Support, resistance, right? Based on big events, the low. Based on all-time high, the white, based on the FOMC low. So it's very interesting. If I had nothing else on my charts, that you could use those levels, right? But I use them in conjunction with everything. So that's that. We came right up almost to this 405 level and the 20-day. So the 20 days right there. Okay. So That's what I'm really looking at. Okay. This range now, can we get into this range? That's the question. Or do we reject now? Do we come up, reject it, and then we take out these candles, right? Because basically, everybody who was short in here just got their face ripped off. So let's look at the Qs. We can put up those anchored VWAPs really quick just to see where they're at. Now see the all-time highs acting as resistance, anchored VWAP. See, the Qs never came down to here. You can see that they just hit resistance from the all-time highs, anchored VWAP, and the 20-day moving average, right? The Qs. And we broke this 298 level, which was pretty key. And we have this trend line. So this trend line is coming in at about 302, 303. Yeah, about 303. So that could be a little resistant. Have to see. I mean, basically, like I said, this was a big short cover rally. There wasn't a lot of pullbacks, so we had a trend day. All right, let's look at that triple-headed monster. And you can see nothing moves in straight lines all the time, right? Like 10-year yield, we were just building a range, kind of hovering around 4, went really high, went up to about what is it? The high was 4.09, and then people said, you know what? That's time to buy some bonds. The yields are so great. It's time to buy some bonds, right? You just got to hold this level now. But if we start dipping down, the market could go higher. Okay. But we're right around this level, this range. So it's really a tipping point for bonds. Do we go back to 4s or do we go below 3.9? That's really what we have to look at here. So you would see the inverse here of TLT. And you can see here the gap down and then getting bought. So it has resistance here. Let's get these off. Hold on. So you can see it's got pretty good resistance here, but we just made a nice move. Okay, so let's look at the VIX. Look at that drop. We were all the way up here, 23, went all the way down, made a low of 18, but now it just rose up, possibly with Powell speaking the next 2 days. But we're under 20, under 19, so that's cooled off. And let's look at the dollar. Chi-Town. Rosita's in Chi-Town. Let's see here, the dollar. Dollar's still in kind of a range, kind of topped out at 105. Right now we're at 104.43 in a range. Okay. Real quickly, let's look at the Dow. Now the Dow, you can see I had a fib from this high down to this low, and on Friday we came right up to the 50% Fibonacci level, and currently it's flat. So we also have the 50-day moving average, the 20-day simple moving average right here. So this is kind of like a tipping point for the Dow. So if we start to break the 61.8, now look at the 61.8. The 61.8 is right with this major level right here, around 336. See this big range that they were in? This is a big range. So I have an alert set for this too. 61.8, 336 in the Dow. That is a big tipping point. I'd really like to see if we can if obviously long, you want to break that, hold it, and then go long to the top of the range. But if we break it, can't hold it, like under it, test it back, that's you'd probably want to short that. So I'm really looking at that in the Dow. Remember, Dow only 30 stocks control the Dow, and then we got the Russell. Russell's in range. It's a little different than the Dow. Obviously, Dow has that big range. So this is the Russell. Can't really say much about the Russell. Got a good big level here. 190 is a big level. So that's just those. Let's look at the market profile and just go over some scenarios here. All right, so we're looking at the ES, what it did. All right, what it did on Friday. Opened here, so we gapped up, could not fill the gap, and then we just went higher. Made a much straighter price here, and then I said 40.24. If you remember what I said in the pre-market, I said we need to break 40.24, hold it, to me to be interested in a long. Well, we came up here. You can see there's single prints right here around that level, and then we just moved up, closed here. It's amazing. Just took out these sellers, all those sellers taken out. And the way the market was moving, it was just like buying, buying, buying. You know, made a couple single prints here, so we have multiple single prints here, here, here. So it would like move up, then it would kind of build out a little value, move up, build some volume, move up, and then build volume at the top. So we kind of have like a spike up here, but there's a lot of little decent minute volume here. So, and what do? We held above the most traded price of the week, 39.85. So that's bullish. That's why, like in the pre-market video, I said if we hold above 424, you'd probably want to be long. I said I'm only interested in a short if we could break under this level. And remember, I was saying that if we break under this level, I want to look at the short to take out these single prints. Well, what did we do? We didn't close the gap. That's bullish. Then we went over 40.24, and that was bullish, right? So let's look at what we're doing now. Okay, this is the overnight. So we're gapping higher right now. This is the overnight high. It's the overnight low. This is Friday's high. Friday's low. So we're gapping higher. Now there's a lot of overhead supply here. And we're still moving higher. I mean, Apple is up almost 2% now. Very heavy weight. There's a lot of supply, overhead supply here. So, like always, you have to gauge that gap. Now, this is not a huge gap, but this would be the gap fill. That's the low. Here's the overnight low. But now you can see we're thinning out at the top here. And you gotta kind of like, here's the midpoint. The midpoint's actually at the high of Friday. So you have a kind of a balanced profile. Not a lot. It's harder to read that. It's definitely bullish. But you have to, you have to really look about what's going on now, right? You just have higher low, right? Higher low, another higher low. This is obviously each session is a real-time trading hour and an overnight, a real-time trading hour and an overnight. But obviously you had a lot of short covering. So 20-day simple moving average is here, and like I just said, the gap. This is a little different. We just had a trend day higher. So what you want to see is you have two demand zones here. And what I'd be looking at right now is not long. You don't want to get long up in here, right? So you got a demand zone here and a demand zone here. So what I'd be looking for, or I'd be interested, is if we kind of move up. Ooh, that's kind of like not what I want. If we was to move up, come into one of these supply zones, and we started to come back into this demand zone, and obviously that would mean it would fill the gap. Thinking, and you get, this could be a little bit of a trap for sellers. Thinking, oh, we're rolling over. If the market stays strong, remember Apple is up 1.89% right now. This could be the move to go higher. You could also just wait for this demand zone to go higher. Now, if we made it down to 40.24, 40.25 right here, this is also another place, because this is the top. I would say this is roughly the top of the range that we came out of. So this would be another place where people might look to get long, because then you got better trade location, right? Because right now, as long as we stay above, what did I say, 39.85, around this level, okay, this is the most traded price of the rolling year right here, and the most traded price of the week. As long as we stay above this, that's bullish. As long as we stay above this area and we can build out volume, that's bullish. We should probably make a bit of a move higher. But there's a lot of supply overhead supply. So I could see it being a little tough sledding above us. And I talked about the 40-80 level, the 405 level, and the SPY. So, and you have Powell talking. There's a lot of moving parts going on right now, right? So let's look at the Nasdaq. Okay, we could see what we did on Friday. Went right up to the 20-day. Right, went right up to the 20-day. Most traded price of the week's 120.90. Right there. Okay, now let's see. See what we're doing now. Obviously, we're gapping higher. See, we went right up into this supply. Catching a little bit of a selling right now, but same thing. Very balanced profile. Right. This is the high of Friday. This is the low. Okay. Very balanced. So this is not, this is the middle of the range right here. So, like I said, I wouldn't want to be long up in here. That's not a great trade location. So you have a nice demand zone here. And this, you probably can't see it, but this, around this level, about 122.60, right about here, that's kind of like the top of the range. You could see it come back down here and bounce. That's what I would be looking at. Because right now we're above all the major most traded prices. As long as we hold here, doesn't matter if we don't go all up today. We just need to build value up here. If we can move value up here, just like on the ES, that's bullish. You need to stay above here. You just start moving in here, and you build out, volume and value. We could move. That could just propel us to move higher. But we're at a crucial spot. And today, like I said, you have Powell speaking, and this is not easy at all by any stretch of the means. Any trade that I'm talking about, it's not an easy trade. I do have a demand zone here as well. If you can see this right here, this line, that's a demand zone as well. That kind of almost lines up with the top of the range. So like this 120, what is that, 12 to 26 around this area. That could be an area that, then you get the long, right? Then you can like target up here. And again, I really have to read the market today. I'm not really even confident. This all I'm saying is, all right, people who are getting long now could get hurt, and then they gotta, cover, and then the real bulls that want to push this is gonna get join in, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm gonna leave you with, I am looking at coin. I will show you what I'm looking at in coin. But first, I want to just, before I do that, crude, that China news, that was like, whoa. But let's look at this. I just want to show basically what's going on here and what could we expect just on the candlesticks and futures. So this is a 4-hour chart. Oh wait, I might even have an 8-hour chart here. I think this is the 8-hour chart. Yeah, just to give us perspective. Okay, and even I'll clean it up a little bit. Just give me a second here. Okay, so let's just really quickly, this is why I wanted to say this here. Okay, so obviously with this market, we rose up to here, made a range, right? Broke out of that range, started to make a new range down here, right? Well, now we broke out of that range, right? Right around here. The key really is, can we break back into this range up here? And that tipping point is, like I said, 40, 80, 40, 90, right here. The bottom of that range is going to be the test. So if we go back in, bullish, right? If we reject back out, we could find us making new lows. Okay, and if we look at this measured move here, you could do it from two different spots. This would be really from the move from Friday. You could do it from the lows, but you can see, we'll do two things here. Let's do the volume from this move. Oop. So that's like the volume profile from this move, from the lows. Okay, most volumes down here, right? That's the most traded price of this move down here, right? But you see a bunch of volume. Okay, so then I want to look at that. But then I want to look at a fib, right? I want to go from this move, which is kind of by Thursday or Friday, because we made this move up. And so this little move, you could be safe. 40.15 is the most traded price right here. You can see it of this year. That lines up with 40.19, the 50% retracement, which basically is is basically, top of the level right here. So you could even retrace back here, and it lines right up with the most traded price of this year. So, but like I said, if we start building value and start building more volume out here, this could definitely go like that. And then that's the test, where we test the bottom of this range. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. You got to really be cognizant of these 4019, around 4019 level, because we could go back down and it could be a bear trap, right? They think we're going back to the lows, and then we can pop back up, and then the test really is up here. So just want to point that out. That's what I'm looking at. I try to give it me a point of view like that. So, and then finally, I'll just leave everybody with this, what I'm seeing in coin. Just give me a second while I pull that up. I'll just show you what I see in coin and multiple charts here. Give me a second here. I'm ready. Alright, so check this out. Really liking coin if the market can push higher. Okay. Now, why is that? So this is a weekly volume profiles of coin, right? And this is the last month. So check out this. The most traded price is right here, right? Around 63.55. All right. Now, if I show you volume wise, just to show you really push this out, important here. Very important level is 67.5. Sorry, I did not show you that. Hold on. So I'm going to show you this again. I apologize. So this is coin. Most traded price right here, 63.55. Okay, you can see this is the most traded price of the last month. Each one of these profiles is a week. Right? You could see the week we made lower, higher lows, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, but now this is queuing up for a big move. Okay, because the most traded price of these weeks is matching up with this most traded price of the month. Now remember, when I talk about this, whenever the most traded price of the weeks and the month match up, a big move is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's either going to go this way or this way. Okay? Now, if you look at this, the biggest seller, the most volume, biggest volume of this selling is right here. And that has been defended at 67.5. Got that big selling, came down here, right? Got some buying, came right up to the tick of this selling and sold off. So it's been defended. However, if this market is stronger and it can break 67.5, I'm going to be looking for a retest to go long. Okay, because you right now have the most volume of this month here. If you break that and you have selling here as well, you're going to trap all those shorts. All right. So I'm really liking that coin if coin moves that way. Now, another thing on coin, just to give you some confluence here, it's also, we're by the most traded price of the year in coin. So it's been a heavily traded price, right? Now, if I put a trend line here, you can see this trend line is right here, right? Just another confluence here. So if we zoom in here, if we break, so it's not only breaking the most traded price of the week, the most traded price of the month, the most traded price of the year, we're going to break this trend line. And if we break that trend line in that large volume of selling that came in, that could be a nice puff up. Now, obviously, you want to see Bitcoin moving higher as well, right? But they don't always have to work lock and step like that. But I just found this to be, I already put trades in for it. I'm going to look at options, but I'm going to trade the stock, maybe a swing, but it's at a very crucial moment, right? Like, so the stock market broke out, but coin didn't just go crazy. So this is at a prime for a move. I don't know if again, I could go lower, but I want to go with what the market's doing. So again, I'm no financial advisor. You know, this is just, I'm not even sure if I'm going to trade it, but I just thought that was very interesting. A lot of levels, a lot of important things here. It's coiling up for a move. It's just coiling up very nicely for a move. And right now, we're currently at 64.71, so we're right around in here somewhere. Okay, so I thought that was interesting to note. All right, well that's it for me. Hope everybody has a good day, and stay green. Give me a comment, like, or subscribe. I think today was a little long, maybe long-winded, but I apologize for that. And remember, we have PAL Tuesday and Wednesday. Today could just be digesting the move that we just had two big, large moves up. I expect, probability-wise, not a big move higher. I expect balance today, but anything can happen. But that's, I think, in the cards for the higher probability. Two big days in a row. Expect some digestion, maybe a little pullback, but and build value higher. All right. And if I see something to note, I will update with a video later. All right. Everybody have a good day. Good luck. Stay green and stay patient. Take it easy.